evening, friends. I'm fixing to fix me and Troy a bite of lunch. It's after lunchtime, but we don't have any special 7, 12, and 5 schedules around here. So I'm going to make some salmon patties for lunch, and I thought, well, I'll just show y'all what I'm doing. And I'm going to have some cream-style corn and boiled okra and some smothered potatoes with it. So I'm just going to bring y'all along for the meal and show you what we're having and how I fix it. Maybe y'all will learn something that you haven't done before. And then I got a tip that I'm going to tell you about how I dispose of my stinky stuff that I have to get rid of after, like the cans the salmon was in and all. You probably do it, but if you don't, you might be glad to learn. So come on over here and let's get going, and then I'll make our plates and show you what we're having for lunch today. Okay, I've skipped the cutting them in wedges, circles. I just peel my potatoes and then I just sliced my little circles. And this is not hard to do, but there may be some young cooks that haven't done it before. So I put probably 3 tablespoons of oil in this skillet, and I tossed my potatoes until each one of them has some oil on it. And I'm just going to cut my fire on a medium heat under here. Get my fire going, just on medium. And then I'm going to season them with some salt and pepper right now, and then later I may add some onion and garlic powder, but I don't want it to soak up my oil right now, so I'm just going to put some salt and pepper on them. Probably more pepper than some people like, but we like pepper. Then I'm going to toss them again. Try to get some on all the sides. Now the secret to smothering them is you're going to put a lid that fits your pot to where they'll kind of sweat out and cook, and I just leave them until the bottom side starts browning a little bit, and then I flip them, cook them until they're tender. Now you like bacon grease, you could cook this in bacon grease or whatever you wanted. I've just used some garlic olive oil today. So I'm going to put my lid on them and just let them cook until when I flip them over, the back side is beginning to brown, and then I'll brown the other side, and then I'll still cook them a little bit more where they'll be really soft. We love smothered potatoes. Now to go with our potatoes, I'm boiling some of our okra from the garden, and I just washed it and cut the ends of the stems off and put it in some water. You can't cover it, it floats up. Put it in some water with a little bit of salt, onion, and garlic powder, and about a tablespoon, a heaping tablespoon of bacon grease that I keep in the refrigerator. So I'm just going to let that cook till it's tender. I did put probably 3/4 of a teaspoon of white vinegar. That keeps it from being so slimy. And then I'm also going to make some salmon patties, and I may show y'all how I'm making them, but this is going to be our lunch today. Okay, the potatoes are starting to brown a little bit, and can y'all see how they're kind of sweating? I'm just going to give them another stir. Now if you liked onions in your smothered potatoes, you could slice some onion real thin and toss it in there with them. Troy doesn't like cooked onion that well. I love it, but I'm going to fix them where he'll enjoy them too. So we're going to have some good potatoes here in a minute. I'm fixing to work on the salmon patties, and I'm going to show y'all what I'm doing with it. I'm going to use 2 of these 6-ounce cans of salmon that I get at Costco. They come in a stack of, I don't know, 8 or 10 maybe, and I'm going to use 2 of them today. This is not rocket science, but I'm just going to show you. I've opened my lid all the way around, and I'm just going to drain right down the drain the juice that came off of them that they were packed in, because I don't want that in my mix. Okay, now we're going to get back over to the ooze block, and we'll get to mixing it all up. Okay, I've got 3/4 of a cup of chopped onion in 2 of the cans, which makes 12 ounces of canned salmon, 1 egg. I'm going to put about a teaspoon of baking powders, And I'm going to give this a stir. Then I'll decide how much flour that I need to put in here to keep it all bound together good. And I'll put some salt and pepper and onion and garlic in it. Sometimes I put fresh garlic, sometimes I just use the powder. I think today I'm just going to use garlic powder. And when I say powder, I mean the granulated. I don't like the powdery that's like baby powder in the onion or the garlic. I always use the granulated. I'm going to put a heaping tablespoon of onion powder. And about a teaspoon of garlic powder. That's about a 3-to-1 ratio with your seasoning. I just want about a half of a teaspoon of salt. I'm not sure. About that. It has to be to where when you make a patty in your hand and press it, it holds together good to where you can put it in your oil and fry it. You can bake them if you want to. I'll be honest, I never have. I always fry my salmon patties. You could probably look at me and tell that that's what I do to mine. Let's put another tablespoon in there. Okay, let me see how that'll do if I'm going to make a patty out of it. And sometimes I'll go ahead and dust them with flour after I make my patties, but that's going to work really well. That's holding together good. So probably a heaping tablespoon per can would be sufficient of the little 6-ounce cans. And you know, if you don't have salmon, you can use tuna fish to make patties, and they're very good. I like for them to get really brown, and then I like to put the lid back on them and let that get soft from the steam. Okay, I'm going to put the lid back on them, cut my fire down to medium low, and I'm just going to let them steam some more. Then right before I take them out of the skillet, I'll season them with some onion and garlic powder, and I'll taste for salt and all and see what they need. Okay, the potatoes are soft and tender, and what I've done is I put about 2 tablespoons of butter in there, and I'm just going to take my garlic powder like you would put some salt on your egg or something, and sprinkle a little garlic powder and a little onion powder. And this is probably not even half a teaspoon maybe, just to give them a little bit of bumped up flavor. And then I want a little bit more pepper on them because we like black pepper. And I'm not going to salt them anymore. If Troy wants some more salt, he can salt at the table. I don't like a lot of salt. They're very tender, so if I stir them too much, see, they're falling apart. So I'm just going to put a lid on them and take them off the burner and just let them sit here until I get everything else ready. Okay, I've got my fire on a medium. And I'm just going to let my grease get hot. I don't have a bunch of grease. See, I've barely covered the bottom, maybe a ½ inch. And then I'll cook them on one side and flip them to the other. So let my grease get hot, and then I'll bring you over here. I'm also going to open a can of cream-style corn. I love cream-style corn with salmon patties. So that's lots of carbs, I know. I know what's going through some of your minds. But this is Gay Jordan's kitchen in the Texas country, so we're going to have it my way. Okay, let this get hot enough and we'll put our salmon patties in there. I did dust them with a little bit of flour, And it won't take them long because they're already, everything's done in them except for softening the onions that I put in them and cooking that egg that's binding them. The meat is fully cooked. You could even take those little cans of salmon like that and make it like you make tuna fish, but make it out of salmon. A little different flavor and very good and very healthy for you. So it's starting to get a little bit hot. Let's drop a little bit of, not quite hot enough. I'll tell y'all something else that I do. Like those cans that the salmon was in, they stink, even though I rinsed them. So I save these grocery bags that my produce comes in, and when I'm cooking, I'll put my scraps, I'll put the paper towels that I've wiped stuff up with that would draw little gnat flies. I don't know if y'all are bothered with them, but we are, so I have to be very careful. Anything that's going to stink or be yucky in my kitchen garbage, till I take it out, I put it in there, and then of course I seal it up, and then I can put it in the trash without it stinking the kitchen up or making flies or bugs. Just a little tip. Y'all may already do that. Sometimes if I've had something, like if I have chopped onion and have some left and it's in a zipper bag, I'll put everything in that zipper bag once I get the onion out and put it in the trash, and it makes your, I guess to say, it keeps your trash a little cleaner. If I'd have made them a little tad smaller, you could have gotten 3 smaller patties per can of salmon. So that's just kind of a FYI there. And a little bit stuck, so I'm going to cook a little taste in the middle. Even though I rinsed these cans, I'm going to put them in my little trash bag here. And the reason I like to fix wax paper is because it makes cleanup so easy. I'm going to rub, because it's got little crumbs of the salmon on it. And then when I get through putting everything in here that I need to, I'll tie it and put it in my kitchen garbage. You don't ever want to just open up a can of something, warm it up, and put it on the table. That's nasty. Doesn't have any flavor to it. So I'm going to put in here, to 1 can of cream style corn, about 1 teaspoon of onion powder, probably well, I've got more in my hand, 1/2 a teaspoon, 1/4 to 1/2 of garlic. What didn't get out on the butcher block there. And I'm just going to sprinkle a little black pepper in it. And it's canned. I don't know if they use salt or not, but I don't put much salt. That may be 1/4 a teaspoon just for starters. And I have some butter here that I melted for something other day and didn't use, so I'm going to put about a tablespoon of butter in it. And then this is a cordingware dish that was my mother-in-law's. And I'm just going to put it on the stove and just heat it through, and it'll be ready to go. Okay, the salmon patties are getting brown around the edge, so it's time to turn them. And the top, unless you splash some of that hot grease up on it, is not hot to hold on to them while you turn them, because even though you put binder, sometimes they'll break, and you want them to stay in a nice pretty patty for you. Now you could put bell peppers, red or green, chipped up celery, whatever you'd want to put in it, but this is how we like them. It's just with a little bit of onion and cooked until they're brown. Put enough binder in them to make them hold together. So we'll brown them on the other side and heat this corn up, and lunch will be done. Hey y'all, here's our meal on the butcher block. I'm just going to make our plates and take it to the table, so I didn't put everything in bowls. But we have our salmon patties. I always either drain them on a rack with a paper towel under it or just on the paper towels like this, because today I didn't want to get a rack out. And there's our cream corn, the smothered potatoes, and they're so soft, but yet they have a little crunch, and the boiled okra. So I'll show you our plate here in a minute. It's going to be very, very yummy. Well, hope y'all have enjoyed being in here with me while I made our meal. I just wish you could sit down at the table and share it with us. It's just me and Troy. Sure would be nice to have some company. I hope y'all have learned something today, or maybe just stirred up your mind to something you already knew that you might need to fix for supper today. Y'all come back in a day or two and we'll have something else good, and in the meantime, take care of yourself, watch your surroundings, be putting a little bit of food back just in case something rises up and causes problems, and get some stuff put back for your holiday meals where you'll know you've got it in case the shelves are empty. Be wise so you can take care of that family. The good Lord bless y'all, and I'll see you soon.